Hey everybody, this is the best form of my ambitious TBR because this is all of the books that I got together that I want to read before 2024 ends. Let's go through them, shall we? Since we're halfway through the year, I would like to see in my wrap up and when I come back and watch this video that I've read these books. Obviously, like, I respect what you're telling me. These are all books that obviously at the end of the year I want to read. I want to have these words in my brain. I want to know what happens in the plot and I want to be able to review them for you by the time that I sit and review books at the end of 2024. First of all, I'm going to pull up, I did make a 24 books that I want to read in 2024 list. So actually unknowingly I did pick up some of these books. The books that I didn't go pick up but I have on my 24 books to read in 2024 that I haven't read yet is The Hobbit. I don't even own a copy of The Hobbit, but I, thought to myself, once the fall time comes and I get really into fantasy, I really want to read The Hobbit. Ghosts by Dolly Alderton is on there. Honestly, if there's a book on here that I don't foresee myself doing, it's that one. I've read Dolly Alderton's nonfiction, and then I tried to read Good Material by her, and I just didn't love that one, like, at all. And then I also have From Blood and Ash. Reckless, which is going to be coming out in July. Better than the movies? Nothing Like the Movies is also another one that I don't have in my hands. Oh, Night Road by Kristen Hanna, I don't think I picked up, is also on this list as well. And Hamnet's on this list as well, which is right here. This is also on my list of things that I want to read. That's everything on my 24 books I want to read in 2024. Some of these are also on that list. Some of them are not. So let's just go through them, shall we? First and foremost, I think I want to start with just like random books. Like I just picked them off my physical TBR. First of all, we have Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. Literally, can we just take a second? Look at all of those awards. This is critically acclaimed for a reason, and I want to figure out that reason. This book specifically gives me August vibes. Does anybody else ever look at a book and go, I'm going to read you in this month? You look like this month. Like that looks like the month that I'm going to read you in. And that's how I think about this book. So maybe August, sometime in the fall. And I remember, oh yeah, like the setup of this book, like the font is big. The setup is good for me. Next up, we have A Man Called Ove. I don't know. Have I yet to read any of Frederick Bachman's work? I know Anxious People, Beartown, this book. Both of my parents now have seen and raved about this movie to me. And you guys know, if you are somebody that clicks on my channel frequently, you may have heard me be annoying and tell you multiple times that I cannot watch a movie before reading the book. I want to read this one. This one's more of like a wintry, like November. Like around Christmas time, December. I keep on reading that December is still a part of 2024. Next up, we have Light Lark. Now, I've had this sitting on my TBR for a while. The thing that brought this forward for me to want to read is because I saw like fan art and I saw like a little quote scene from a book, which I told myself, Destiny, stop getting your hopes up from seeing that, because usually sometimes they take the best part of the book, the one good part of the book, and they recommend it to you through that. That's been my experience with that. But I think a lot of people love this one, and like the guy, like maybe he's a little morally gray, and I love a little morally gray, and this one's told to be kind of like the Hunger Games. Again, I could see more towards like the fall, like September, October-ish. I don't know why I'm telling you guys the month of every single one of these. We're just gonna go with it. This is a book, All the Light We Cannot See, that I actually got quite a bit into the audiobook of this one, and I still have the audiobook of it on Audible, but it's more of like I would pick back up the audiobook of this one because I was really, really loving it when I was reading it. Like I was so into it, and I think I put it down. I forget why I put it down. No, it was this year that I was reading it. Was it March or February that I was reading this book in? Actually, that was this year. Wow. Yep, that was this year. I've already gotten a little bit into it. I want to finish it. Next up, we have Hands Down by Mariana Zapata. The reasoning for this one is, why am I kind of, I like unknowingly like put my hands over his hand. I have like a Mariana Zapata dedicated. I was like back in like 2022-ish. I was like loving reading her books, and I don't like dislike them. That kind of made it like like I was setting up to be like, now I don't like them. I still like them, but I just haven't picked one up in forever, and I haven't read a single one this year, so I want to read another one, and this is just like a football one that I feel like it would be fun during football season. I have 2 Stephen King novels. So first of all, we have Salem's Lot. I am a big fan of scary movies, as you may have heard me say multiple times before, so I could get into Stephen King's horror. Like, that is really right up my alley, and I would really enjoy it. I've also been thinking about getting into horror. I know where we can get into with the horror books. Okay, I've sat and watched some of the videos of like the really, really extreme ones and y'all explaining them to me. I don't think I could do that, but I can do like Stephen King. Like Stephen King and other authors, I feel like it doesn't bother me. Honestly, would probably enjoy them. So I want to get into this one. So Salem's Lot, I want to read this one in like October. This one, however, is not a horror. This is like one of his just like fiction works, and that is 11/22/63. I want to read this before the year's over. I would feel so accomplished if I read this. It's just a big book to even like hold. Not even as long as Kingdom of Ash, but it's just like you hold this up and somebody would be like, you read that? And as a reader, there are few things that feel as good as that. Like you holding up a book, or say you're reading a book in public, or like you just finished it and somebody's like, I can't believe you read that. And I'm like, I'm blushing. I know, I'm so cool and awesome, and like I do this. Also, the premise honestly just sounds very interesting to me, which is I think he like has to go back in time. Is it to stop JFK's assassination? Yes, to prevent the Kennedy assassination. It just seems interesting to me, and I've heard Haley rave about it. So next up, one of my reading goals, if you guys would have watched my mid-year like little tag, one of my reading goals for this year is to read 10 classics. So now we're kind of moving into that, like the classics that I have on my radar to get to that goal. Well, first of all, these aren't classics, but I just put them with this. We have Cleopatra and Frankenstein. This is just a book that honestly, I can't even explain it. It's just intrigued me for such a long time. Pretty sure this is on 24 books that I want to read in 2024. Hey, it's not. And then we also have the Unabridged Journals of Sylvia Plath. I have started this one, but it honestly is just something that like you have to like pick up, honestly probably over a span of some months, because it is like it's literally her inner thoughts. I am just not in a place mentally to finish it right now. I didn't, and I feel like though I do by the end of the year want to have read all of these journals, but this is like a thick book. Like there's a lot in here. But going into the classics, I have quite a few. First of all, we have Little Women. I love the movie Little Women. It's one of my favorite movies ever. You guys tag me in this scene from Little Women all the time. There's a Gracie Abrams edit going around with them that I reposted. Y'all, it hurts. So I really want to, I feel like I keep on saying this, but I have a recollection of reading Little Women, but it was like back when like you could not get me to pay attention to a classic for the life of me. The Picture of Dorian Gray, which I've also heard is a very like beginner friendly classic book. So I literally wasn't showing you guys. The Picture of Dorian Gray. Jane Eyre, which I also heard is very beginner friendly. You're gonna see, I feel like all of these are pretty beginner friendly classics that I have. I also have Animal Farm by George Orwell, The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, Wuthering Heights, Pride and Prejudice, which I've never read nor seen the movies, and then we also have Great Expectations. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've read one classic so far this year, so I would need to find another one, but if I could read all of these and be able to display these Penguin editions of them, I would be very, very happy. Next up, these are all of the fantasy books. So honestly, I fall into fantasy like when it starts getting a little cooler outside. Like as soon as there's a crisp breeze in the air, I'm reaching for a fantasy book, or like dark academia or thrillers, but I'm reaching for thrillers in the summertime too. First and foremost, I have Heavenly Bodies. This is just, is this on my... Yes, it is on my 24 books I want to read in 2024. I bought this book kind of towards the end of last year and have wanted to read it since then. So again, just excited. Really don't know much about this one. This is another one that's also on my 24 books read in 2024, and that is These Violent Delights. Did I literally read Foul Lady Fortune and Foul Heart Huntsman before reading this? Yes, but it made me want to read this one more. Like I had this sitting on my T-bar for literal, like at least a year. And then I read that duology because my mom picked it last year for Bookmas. And I was like, okay, makes me want to read this one. This isn't fantasy, but it was over on that shelf. Truly Devious. I have had this sitting on my TBR for 2 years now. It's a young adult mystery, and I've heard like great things about it. Like no one has literally looked at me and said this book is bad. So I want to read it, because most of the time I look at these fantasies or like these mysteries and I'm like, fall and then I get to fall and I don't read them, and then it's not fall anymore, so then I don't want to read them anymore. This is another one that I have the audiobook of, and I would probably audiobook it because this is just super defeating. These pages are thin and the font is small, and that's just not going to be a great reading experience for me. I have listened to quite a bit of this audiobook, and that is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I just want to get through this year and say that I've read a Brandon Sanderson book. Next up, we have A Fate Inked in Blood. 1, I've seen good things about it. 2, I read The Bridge Kingdom by this author and loved it. I still need to also continue that series. I started it this year and never even picked up the next book, but I have it on my Kindle to read. I just need to read it. But this one I'm very interested in because I liked her writing and I liked her fantasy world. It was so atmospheric. I could see it so well in my brain. I'm excited for this one. We also have Fear the Flames. I've seen great things about this one, but I feel like not enough people talk about it. I'm really wanting to pick it up because I feel like this would be like look, it has dragons. It reminds me of House of Dragon, and that's what I'm really into right now, except this is green and I'm not team green. I'm not. So I'm gonna have to get that out of my head, but it kind of reminds me of House of Dragon. Next up, we have These Hollow Vows. I have had this on my TBR for the longest time. This has been sitting on my TBR for a while, so I want to read it. And also, it's said to be like have I always heard it's like The Cruel Prince and ACOTAR in one, and it's young adult, and I just want to give the book a shot. We have City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. Listen, I own not all of the City of Bones book. Not all of the Mortal Instruments, but I own, I think, all of the Infernal Devices and some of the other series. I want to read Cassandra Clare. Like, I want to be in that universe and know all about the universe because I know some people love it. This book I've tried to read so many different times, and if I could get past this one thing that I know, because I spoiled it for myself, because I was like, if I'm ever going to have hope to get through the series, I have to know that this is not a real thing. But it's so tough to get through in this book, and I've heard that it goes on into the 3rd book, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Like, let's get real, it's ridiculous. I want to at least read this one this year and get into Cassandra Clare because I could feel like that I could really, really love the Cassandra Clare universe. And last but not least, we have the last 2 books in the Prison Healer trilogy. I read The Prison Healer towards the end of last year, and I just didn't love it a whole lot, so I never continued, but I have the other 2 books, and I remember Sarah really liking this series. I remember when I told her I didn't really love it, she was like, but please just read the other books. So I really want to read the other books. I feel like they have potential to be good. Oh, that's actually not last, but certainly not least, I have this on my TBR, and it's also on my 24 books reading 2024 Harry Potter series. I was gonna read it last year, but then I was like, I don't want to rush it, but I think I would probably read it over the fall time into the winter. I wouldn't read it all in one sitting because I've heard that it's very, very atmospheric and that a lot of people love to read it in fall, but they also love to read it around Christmas. I would probably just spread it out a little bit, but I've never read Harry Potter before. I'm ready to unlock a new part of life. I've never watched Star Wars. I've never watched Harry Potter. I've never read Harry Potter. Never read The Hobbit. Never watched The Hobbit. Read Pride and Prejudice. Never watched Pride and Prejudice. So I'm ready to unlock those stages of life this year. That is every single book on the end of my year TBR. Is it very, very out there for me to read them all? Yes, but I would like to at least get 80% of them read. Honestly, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Let me know what's on your end of the year TBR, and if any of these books are on your end of the year TBR, or if you're looking forward to any of these books. Comment anything. I'm not against it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you guys did, you guys know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff you guys know to do. Stick around and see if I finish these books this year. I dare ya. Okay? Until then, I'll see you when I see ya. Peace.